Well, we're getting ready to go to Circlet today and then plan our path from there. But camping at Circlet, that's the hope anyways. It's about 10 kilometers in. Weather's not too bad. Nice temperature actually. So hopefully it keeps up, and we'll be checking in along the way. I'm showing a map in a sec. Paradise Meadows is a pretty popular stretch of this trail. There's going to be a lot of people just sort of here for the day. A few more heading into the backcountry, which is what we're going to do. But just interested in getting a nice day loop, a few kilometers. It's a great place to visit, right up in the subalpine, and certain times of year, earlier in the summer, it comes out with all the meadows opening up with flowers and the like, and it's very accessible. Most of it's on boardwalks. Yeah, it's a nice spot. Well, here's where we're going to break from the Paradise Meadows loop. See on the map, we are sort of over here, and we're going to walk over to Circlet, which is just right here. First, we're going to go to Lady Mackenzie, right here. So it's about 2.5 kilometers. Straight up. On we go. It's a nice lake. Wish I remembered the name of it, but boardwalk runs right next to it. As you can see, the sky is nice and blue right now. Probably more precisely, that would be a pond. I have no idea what it's called. It's pretty standing and consistent year after year. You wouldn't want to swim in it or anything, but this gives for a nice vista. Alright, we're going to continue on. Maybe a kilometer or so left. Now we get a bit of a climb to Lady Mackenzie Lake. This is a fairly well trodden stretch. Usually is a day hiker thing, so it's pretty civilized to walk up there in terms of what's available. We have boardwalks all the way up, basically. Here we have Lady Mackenzie. I'll stop here briefly. During the winter, you can walk across this lake. Usually it's a good snowshoeing spot. Walk across the other side and then hike through the ridge. We're going to be continuing through that little break in the two mountains across the way. But first we got to do the worst part of this entire trip for the next couple of kilometers, so bear with me. Well, I was gonna stop here for lunch, but instead we're gonna keep going. I'm not that hungry at the moment, and it's pretty busy here. Well, we are entering sort of the worst part of this whole trail, about 2 kilometers. Walking around the edge of Lady Mackenzie. It is a faster route than the alternative, but it is about 2 kilometers along a very rooty trail, a bit of up and down, can get fairly muddy, and a lot of steep drops. The occasional wasp nest as well to watch out for, but usually marked by prior visitors. Anyways, it's not a enjoyable stretch, but it doesn't last forever, and of course ends on a very steep up and over the crest there that I showed you earlier. So I'll show some views along the way, but might be a little muted. So if you're snowshoeing across, you'd probably be coming up here, following the creek, which is just, you can't really see it, but it's through that meadow, and then continuing on, moving up the ridge like we're going to do now. Although it's a different route in the winter time, but it's still nice. Cuts out quite a bit of time actually. Going straight across the lake is a lot faster than what we just did. Well, like I said, that's the ridge, and it's relatively flat here, and a few ups and downs, but I think our end elevation isn't too far off than where it is now. This is my first backcountry camping trip this season, sadly, and I think as a result I was much more conservative with my packing, and I have a lot more I think than I really need. Plus I wasn't so sure about the weather. There's some slight chance of rain and so on, so I brought more for that reason. Brought my bigger tent, which I'll show you later, just so if I have to spend time inside it, it's a little more comfortable than my little one-man. Anyways, it's all doable. Just probably would have sure spared myself some grief weight-wise if I had packed a little better, but oh well. Well, we're approaching the park ranger's cabin just across the pond here. There you go. You can see the cabin. I'll show you a better picture of it later, but I'll show where we are. We're not too far, maybe 2 kilometers from Quai. And then another 3.5 to Circlet. So about halfway. And ranger cabins, okay. Over there, nicely situated. Well, There's a turn off to Kwai campsite, small lake, can't swim in it, but it's only about a kilometer away. It might be the backup if Circlet is too busy. You can see we got about 4 kilometers to get to Circlet and head up there. Hairbringer Lake. Turn off here. It's actually just in view. We're going to go this way. A little easier. We'll get some bushwhacking to continue on. A little bit in the clouds over there. But on the left you can see Castle Craig, Mount Frint, and on the right you can just barely see Mount Edward. There's a trail that goes up to Albert Edward, direct from Circlet, and then there's another one. You can go around Moat Lake, which is just up ahead, and you can continue around the backside of Mount Castle Craig and Mount Frint, and then connect up on the ridge line there. It's a long trek, that last one, almost 10 kilometers in a loop. No real water along the way too, so make sure you pack appropriately. Well, we're in our last couple kilometers, I think, to Circlet. Hopefully it's not too busy. It is Saturday when I'm rolling in, and usually many have already come in by then, but well, hope springs eternal. A little bit of up and down before we get there, but generally it's a pretty casual walk from this point on. I can already feel the temperature dropping a bit. It's supposed to drop to maybe 4 or 5 degrees Celsius overnight. I guess we'll see. And it's hard to say about the rain. The weather can change so quickly up here, but we can, well, hopefully not. And yeah, at a minimum it'd be nice to get a tent set up if it were to decide to rain. That part is always the more difficult one to do, or annoying one to do, if it's getting wet along the way. Anyways, we'll keep walking here. Here we have a T-junction, which you're going to see when I return. They're coming in on the left, coming in from Lady Mackenzie, from the rough side, walking in, but shorter. The alternative is to go through next to Kwai and go through Lake. I usually return that way. It's a little more scenic, a little longer though, as you can see. We're only about 9.5 the other way, and now this is more like 10.5. Still have the ridge to climb over. There's some rough patches as well with roots, but generally it's nice, unless it's been raining a lot, and then this stretch can get a little swampy. But we'll see that on the way back. We're gonna continue. Only another kilometer or so left. Well, this is our I think the last bit of incline before we end up at Circlet. It'd be nice to take this pack off. I'm starting to feel its weight. Issues of doing an inaugural, yeah, you forget how much everything weighs and getting used to wearing a pack and so on, but we almost did it. And this will be, I feel, the high point. And then I lied. There was one more height change. Now I think it's it. Maybe 50 meters to the top, and then down to the campsite, and I can take this backpack off and the shoes. Okay, see you in a bit. All right, we're just on our approach. This isn't Circlet, it's just a small little pond. There's some tenting sites at the end and they're occupied, so it doesn't bode well for the main site. But we'll see. Only a few hundred meters now, so we can start setting up. Outhouse, beer locker, and great water station. All the amenities from home.